good evening. Thank you all so much for joining us. Um, Interesting podcast today, and the topic for discussion is the different ways in which we get signs, which many of you are well aware of the different ways in which we do. But on some of them, we'll go into a little bit more. And interestingly enough, I just channeled the other day for somebody and got a new way, or a way, at least a new way to me, a way in which I never heard before is a way in which they communicate with us. And the meaning on different on about with them. I'll get into a little bit more detail as we go. But to get right down to it, I hope you are all are well, and I, as always, so appreciate you guys listening. Thank you very very much. But one of the first ways are the clairs. So we have our clairaudience, our clairvoyance. Our clairaudience is hearing. Clairaudience is hearing. Clair cognition is just a knowing. Your intuition is the primary way in which they talk to a lot of us, or at least the one that develops first. Um, your channeling, uh, your clairsentient, and then which is feeling. So you get these feelings in different ways, and that's actually the one that I channeled the other day in that they were talking to me about. But before I get into the clairsentient a little bit more, the other two you have, I forget the name of it, but it's tasting, and so like you get messages through taste, through smell, and through touch. Really, the touch one is really really cool. I have gotten messages that way. So that one where you touch an object and you begin to pick up messages from that object. So I did that with a person before. It's not my primary way, but I have done it. I picked up an object before for an individual, actually for a fellow medium, who wanted to test my ability in a multitude of facets. So she went through a gambit of different ways in which we all get communication, and she tested them. She's been doing this since the 70s. So she was just testing to see how good I was, and yeah, I passed the test, but it was really cool how she actually was just testing me, testing, and in the meantime, I actually learned a little bit myself while she was testing me, and it was pretty interesting the different ways in which I was very aware of the messages and how they come in. But the clair sentient, so touching, or I'm sorry, clair sentient is that feeling, right? So the other day I was channeling for somebody, and this is very very interesting. Clairsentient is that feeling, right? That feeling, whether it's like you feel sick to your stomach, maybe for someone that might have an issue, almost like an empath, they might have stomach issues, or you feel. I sometimes can just feel an energy around me that is either like a grandpop or a father, like it's just you can feel that, and sometimes there's a few of intuition, clairsentient, claircognition. I feel like sometimes kind of run together. Sometimes they're really difficult to pick which one it is that you're actually feeling or knowing. You know, s- um, but it doesn't really matter either way. You're getting the communication and you're aware of it, and that's the most important thing. So, regardless of, don't get hung up on, oh my God, was that my clairsentient or my intuition or just a knowing? Don't get caught up in that. Just just be aware of how that information came into you, and that's the most important thing. Not via the clair, but what did you experience? What was it that happened? Was it in your mind that you came in? Was it or through that feeling? you know, just be aware, or a subtle difference in energy, or was it just a knowing? If that makes any sense at all, how I just explained that. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I might have messed that one up a little bit in helping clarify. The meaning is the same, but the clarification I hope helps. Anyway, so when it comes to clair sentient, though, this is what I channeled the other day. That they were telling this woman that her clairsentient sentience is how they are primarily communicating with her. And what they said to her was, you have subtle pulses throughout different parts of your body at different times. And the side that it is on is very important to be aware of. So I actually came up out of the channel and asked, hey, can you help us understand that a little bit more? So they did clarify. They said anything on the right side is a positive sign, and they left it at that. Anything on the left, they said it's not good. So it's not a negative thing on the left, but what it is something that you need to dive deeper into a better understanding of. And it was very interesting because as I was getting that message, I literally got a feeling on my left side that indicated I should deep dive into that, into this method of communication, because prior to the other day when I channeled this for this woman, I never knew that that was a way that would they actually communicate with us. And the surprisingly, the interesting thing here is that I get those pulses all the time, and I'm sure you guys do too. So definitely be aware. Be aware of the sudden subtle pulses. And the pulses they stay in one spot, and it usually only lasts like a second or two, and it just feels like this subtle pulse. Yeah, I mean, is really the best way to explain it. It's just a subtle pulse somewhere on your body. And now I can tell you, I get them from my elbow, I get them in my hand. This woman was getting them in the bottom of her feet. I got one on my shin before. That was interesting because the other thing they said was, when you get them, pay attention to the side, yes. But then I said, okay, well, how do you know what to make of it? Whether it's something that you have to deep dive into. They said, pay attention to your thoughts at that moment and what you were just thinking, or pay attention to your environment, because it could be an indication or a subtle message about the environment. And if it's on your left side, it's something you want to be mindful of. And that's what they were indicating. Like, hey, there's something about this environment that you're in right now, or about your thoughts that you need to be aware of, or you need to research more. So when you feel these pulses, definitely take note of what you were just thinking and what you need to do a little bit more research on, or, hey, that was a good indication. So that was a major channel that I had the other night. As I said, I never knew that that was a way in which they communicated with us on a regular basis. And both her and I both get these pulses quite often. I get them almost on a daily basis, and I've been paying attention to them more and more. As a matter of fact, what I'm doing now is going to start. I already have a journal, but I'm going to carry one with me. And anytime I have a pulse on my left side, I'm immediately going to write down what it was I was either thinking and where I was, and make sure that I take a deeper look into either that subject that I was thinking or the environment in which I was. So I thought that was very, very interesting. Another thing that I wanted to tell you is that the images that we get now on your clairvoyance, this is an interesting one because your clairvoyance is seeing. But I'm going to tell you this. there are a number of different ways in which you see. Some people can see with their eyes open. Some see with their eyes closed. I'll tell you, yesterday, for whatever reason, hawks come to me a lot, and often go to a lot of people that I channel for as like messengers. And yesterday, I kept thinking to myself, man, I feel like I'm going to see a hawk today. I don't see them every day, but lately I've been seeing them a lot. And yesterday I was like, I feel like I'm going to see one. And I didn't at all the entire day. And last night I was meditating right before I was going to sleep, and a hawk, no kidding, as if I was flying in the sky with it, appeared in my third eye. It was absolutely amazing. So beautiful. But there are the different ways that we see, and that's one of them. Through the third eye, closed eyes. Eyes open, you can see auras. You can see, some people can see apparitions or multidimensional beings, whatever it is. Some people um, see different forms of energy. So, like, I can see auras. Well, lately I've been seeing archangels a lot. But it's interesting because in the clairvoyance aspect of things, when I see archangels, I only see them as color. So I can see out of the peripheral vision of my eye. As a matter of fact, I just saw one not 10 seconds ago. Um, and it's funny because I've been seeing 4-4 a lot lately, which I'm also going to talk about a little bit later. But I look up, and out of the peripheral vision of my eyes, I see purple and red. I'm sorry, purple and blue, which is how I see archangels. So clairvoyance is a really cool one, but just know that there are different aspects of clairvoyance that are possible. It's not just one particular way. It's a multitude of ways. So be aware. Um, the next one, you got your feeling, your hearing. Those are they're pretty obvious. Although the hearing, I will tell you, I had a conversation with my friend Jim the other day, and we were talking about hearing. Hearing is something that does open up, um, or develop with your clairvoyance. So as you open up your clairvoyance and your sight begins to develop a little bit more, your hearing does too. So you're going to start to hear those ringings in the ear. And I'll give you a little indication about the ringing in the ear. If you hear something on your right side, that's similar to the feeling on the right side, in that it's a good sign. Although ringing in the left side is an indication of something that, well, I'm going to go with with what they said about the tingling on the left side. It's something you need to be aware of. Could be an indication of something. I don't want to say bad because I don't like using that word, but I will. It could be the indication of something bad. I'll give you for instance. I heard ringing in my left ear before, and I channeled about it, and they said your Uncle Ben is has the potential right now. He's in an environment, and he could get really hurt if he makes the wrong move. So now, obviously, this is not something that I would share with my Uncle Ben because, first of all, he's not a believer in what I do. Um, but also, I cannot affect change with what I get. So if it's meant to happen, it's going to, and if it isn't, then it won't. So I live by that, and I am very cautious about some of the information that I give out, unless I'm asked to give it to this person. So anyway, I did call my Aunt Kyle though, and did ask her, "Hey, what's Uncle Ben doing?" And she told me, "Hey, he's actually working on the roof right now." An interesting thing and was that when I channeled about it, they said yes, if he makes this wrong move, he could get injured. And funny thing was, not 20 minutes after I talked to my aunt, I got another message in my right ear, and I said, okay, I channeled about it, and they said, okay, he did not make that move, he's good. And that just fascinated me. So just to give you a heads up, the ringing in the ear and the side that it rings in is important. Now, if you get ringing in both ears, then that's neutral, and it's just a could be a message from archangels. Well, I consider my hearing to be communication from archangels all the time, but it could just be a general message from archangels that you may or may never find out about. I don't know. But the ringing in both ears, it's tough to know what that really is. I always interpret it as, hey, I'm just developing. So that's what I go with. Other ways in which we get communication, and a lot of you guys are already very well aware of these, the feathers. And the feather is an interesting one because just the other day, I was getting ready to channel for a girl. And Allie, if you're listening, thank you. Um, she came, and as she was walking in the door, a feather fell right behind her. Like I saw it with my own two eyes fall to the ground. It was amazing. And the session that she had was absolutely amazing. So it was, oh my gosh, so very cool. But now, something to know about the feathers is that the color of the feather has meaning. So a white feather is an indication that a past loved one is with you at that moment. Something to be aware of. A black one is an indication of protection from low vibrational energy. I was seeing black feathers when I was switching jobs from one company to the next, and the first company that I was leaving was very, very, very low vibrational. And when I went to the other one, I kept getting messages, we're protecting you, we're protecting you. And I kept seeing the black feather when I went to this new company. It was so fascinating. Turns out that other company wasn't that good either, but that was the last company that I left, and then I started what I'm doing right now. So it was really cool how that all played out. And let me tell you, this is an important aspect of the communication that you're receiving. And I tell you guys all the time, pay attention to your signs, how they're talking to you. Pay attention to your intuition, how you're feeling. I tell you guys all the time about the intuition, and that's like your guidance system. But it's a huge way in which we get communication from above. So one thing to note though is that when you are getting communication through any of your clairs, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, your intuition, I always myself, and this is something that I recommend to you guys too, is pay attention to not only the messages that you're getting in whatever clair you're developing, but also to the other ways in which they communicate with us. So whether it be numbers, feathers, coins, whatever, pay attention and see if those messages align. So if I get a message, if I channel a message from whoever, whatever spirit above, I always see what it aligns with. So, man, I'll tell you what, guys, I'm giving you a lot of information as far as the communication. I'm sorry, I just had to say that because it's pretty crazy. For free. Uh, so when you are getting this communication, it's important, I believe, to pay attention to all the different signs and see how they line up. So when I was looking at switching jobs and leaving, like quitting IT and getting out of that business altogether and starting my own business, and then now doing what I'm doing, I literally waited for all signs to align and be in unison. So I didn't rely just on my channeling. I didn't rely just on the feathers or the numbers. I waited until all of them were indicating the same thing. And that is when I made my move. Because to me, sometimes you can have an off day. If you use your Claire and you get your message on a particular day, you could be off on a day. Truth be told, we are human. We are not perfect. Sometimes have off days. I just channeled for a woman about a week ago, and I felt bad because it was one of the worst sessions I've ever had. It was so not good. It was just a lot of information that just seemed I was struggling to get for her. But then every session that I had since her, which is quite a few, was amazing. So yeah, you have those moments, you have those times. It's just part of this. So don't doubt yourself. Believe in yourself. Know that you're getting communication and go with it. And you're going to get stronger as you go. But it helps when you see the alignment of all of the ways in which you get communication. That's pretty important. Or it helps a lot, I should say. Not pretty important, but it helps a lot. It helps with validation. So, um, yeah, feathers and pay attention to the color. Oh, because gray, black is a protection from negative energy. Gray is, um, it's not a black or white issue. It's not you're not crystal clear on either way. Now, I will give you another for instance. I was seeing gray feathers when I quit my job, and I kept wondering like, man, is this going to take off? Is this going to take off? And I kept seeing gray feathers. It's not a black or white. Like that's not. So that was telling me right there, okay, I just need to be aware of what's going on, be on my lazy river, and let things flow as they should, and everything's going to be okay. And that's what I did. Um, the next one is animals, and birds in particular, man. Man, I cannot tell you how much birds speak to us. Birds in particular. I mean, so many of them do, though, like rabbits, snakes, turtles, anything you see. And the beautiful thing about awakening and this ascension process is that you see messages and everything. Believe it. Believe it. Believe everything you see. I don't care. Because I'll tell you what, it's better to believe than doubt. If you doubt one aspect of things, then you're going to open yourself up and allow yourself to be susceptible to more doubt. Believe it. And who cares what anybody else says about how often you believe it? Because seriously, I have people tell me all the time, Chris, you see eights every day. Seriously, do you think they're talking to you that much? Yes, I really do. And I'll tell you why. Because they do. They do talk to us every day. In in a lot of these ways that we're going over right now. They do talk to you. It is real. And man, it's beautiful. Plus, like I have someone ask me all the time, well, why do they have to tell you the exact same thing every single day or as often as they do, multiple times a day? And I say, wouldn't you want somebody? I mean, don't you think it's cool to have somebody literally reach out to you every single day and say, Chris, I got your back, or whoever, insert your name here. Every day, I got you. I'm with you. You're not alone. This is awesome. You're going to be okay. Like, isn't that an inspiring message to get every single day by something that you truly and wholeheartedly believe in? Yeah, like the presence, of course. It's a beautiful thing. Now, would I ever doubt my children's love for me if they came up to me every single day and were like, "I love you, Dad. I love you, Dad. Things are going to be okay." I mean, wouldn't that be uplifting? I would think so. Or a friend, every day was reaching out to you, going, "I have such unconditional love for you, and I'm with you, and you could tell me anything you want, and I would never judge it, and I would always be there for you." Like, that's a message I would never dissuade from hearing at any given moment of any given day. because it's beautiful. And when you believe and you hold on to it, well, man, that starts to give you all this confidence and all this like true belief in who you are and what you're doing and where you're going. It's so awesome. I think it's incredible. And it's unfortunate when people don't believe it. But yeah, so I have hawks that go to a lot of people that I've channeled for over the years, and um, it's pretty amazing. I'll tell you what, I've been seeing bald eagles lately too, and that is wow. I saw a bird today, I believe was an eagle. I have it on video too, but it was only caught in the peripheral vision of my car camera. But whoa, this thing was huge. It had a white tail, but its head was not white. Like, you know how bald eagle has a white head and a white tail? This did not have a white head. And it was, oh my God, it was huge, gigantic. The wingspan was off the charts, large, probably close to the size that I am. It was that big, flying literally right in front of my car, right off to the side though. And it's just beautiful, beautiful bird. Landed right off to my side, and when it landed, this thing was gigantic. So I know it wasn't a hawk because this thing towered a hawk. This was either some kind of eagle or potentially a vulture, but it did not look like a vulture at all. And the its feet were much larger than the vultures that I am used to seeing, which I see vultures every day. Which vultures do carry messages, guys. So if you see them, don't think those vultures don't have meaning. They do. So look it up. Another one, though, which we've already glanced over, is numbers. Numbers are huge, and each number has a different meaning. So look up those meanings. If you have or see repeated numbers on a daily basis or a regular basis, then go with that. Now, I'm somebody that believes that I have to see the number a multitude of times before I actually feel like it's a message to me. But I know people that see one number once and are like, okay, that's a message. And more power to you. I would go with that. It's just not something that I do. But hey, if you see a number and you feel like, okay, that's a message, then trust that feeling and go with it. Because it is an absolute way that they communicate with us. Clouds, images like on your phone, or electronics. Oh my God. Okay. So speaking of electronics, yesterday I was watching a Ghost Adventures show, which I don't usually do anymore because I am very aware of my energy and I know what those kinds of shows do to me. They lower my vibration and I don't like that. So I don't really watch them anymore. But yesterday, I was doing some studying, actually about this podcast and about some other stuff. So I had this on in the background, and whoa, out of nowhere, my phone turns on. Okay. So my screen was dark, and all of a sudden it turns on, and it as if I were, as if I said something like, "Hey Google" or Alexa or whatever. It turned on, and right when I said, "Hey Google," it turned on. It did it again. But I did not say that yesterday. And out of nowhere, I wasn't even talking when this happened. It turns on and then says, "Hi, angels." What? Right when I put on this Ghost Adventure show. I literally floored me. I could not believe what I just witnessed. Out of nowhere, that thing just happened. It is amazing. I had one time I was in an office with three different people in a business office, and they knew I was a medium, and they asked me if I'd be willing to channel for them. I was actually working at my computer job at the time, but I said, "Yeah, okay, I'll take a few seconds." And I went to channel for them. Well, I channeled for only like 10 minutes, and during the entire time I channeled, not one time did the phone ring. After the 10 minutes were up, immediately the phone rang. And the guy that called, I could hear him because the phones were so loud. When he called, he said, "Why aren't you guys answering the phone? I have been calling for 10 minutes and no one was answering." And this is a busy office. The phone's always ringing. And for that 10 minutes, not one call. And this guy calls up as soon as the channeling is done and says, "Why didn't you answer? I've been calling for 10 minutes." So they absolutely mess with and can affect our electronics on a regular basis. So if you're somebody that looks through Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is, LinkedIn, whatever, you're scrolling through LinkedIn or Facebook a lot or Instagram, and pay attention to what you're seeing here, because there are a lot of times that they come through those these electronics and put messages in front of us that we need to see. That's another indication. When I was quitting my job, they were talking to me so much. It's funny because the messages that I see on at different times resonate with me at that very moment that I have something going on. And it's they literally are putting these messages up for me. You know, like I'll see messages that are like 3 days old on a day that I'm having a particular issue or whatever, or thinking a particular way, and this will come up and say, "Hey," like kind of just a reminder, like a jolt. "Hey, stop. You're good. We got you." So again, these messages, they talk to us in so many different ways, and they're beautiful. And that is part of why meditation is so important, because it allows us the opportunity to be in the moment. And when you are in this moment, you begin to observe so much more. You see more things because they are constantly talking to us. I was in school today, and my teacher, not my teacher, but the teacher of the class, said, she was telling me a story about her brother who passed away. And no kidding, immediately I heard brother here. And I told her about it. Obviously, I asked her if she would mind me telling her about that, if I ever got a message for her. She says yes. So I immediately was like, well, just to give you a heads up, is when you mentioned your brother, I immediately got a message that he was here. So he's with you. And then she started talking about her grandmom and how close she was to her grandmom. When her grandmom, when she brought up her grandmom, I immediately got the message that she is not here at this moment. I was getting my hair cut tonight, and out of nowhere. So this is part of why meditation is so helpful when it comes to getting communication. I was in the barbershop, and as I'm sitting there, I'm literally in mid conversation, and out of nowhere in my mind, I got like this sense of a grandmom, and I'm like, what? Like, it stopped me. It wasn't even strong. And if I wasn't a meditator, I would have completely missed this. So I'm sitting there in mid-conversation, and I absolutely noticed this extremely subtle grandma message come in. And I'm like, what? So I stopped talking because I noticed it, and immediately closed my eyes and just took a second to begin to see, okay, how is she talking to me? Is it, what way is she coming in? And it was a channel. So I asked the girl, my barber, "Hey, do you mind if I give you a message? Because I think I'm giving you one." She already knows I'm a medium. And she's asked me in the past if I could give her a message. Funny thing is, I never got a message for her. I've seen this girl for close to 9 years now, and I've never gotten a message for her. Tonight, I get one. She says it's okay if I give it to her. I give it to her, and she goes, "Chris, there is no day I needed it more than today." A message from her grandma. And the message was beautiful and resonated with her completely. especially in reference to what was going on with her on today. So meditation is very important when you're doing this, and I encourage it highly. Um, so pay attention to your electronics and don't ever dismiss the the um, the messages that come up. Because you definitely are getting messages in so many different ways. The last one that I will tell you about are coins. And again, I know a lot of you know these already, but coins are meaningful. You find them on the ground, wherever. Um, there's meaning there. You put on a pair of jeans you haven't worn in a little while, or you even have, and you find a penny, a quarter, quarters, nickels, dimes. They all have meaning. And when you find them, believe it, just like everything else. Don't dismiss it. Trust that somebody is reaching out to you, whether it's your angel, your archangel, your spirit guide, a past loved one, doesn't matter. Just believe that it's happening, and at that very moment, you are getting a message that somebody is with you. Trust it. I can't stress it enough. Trust what you're getting. All right, so they are the different ways in which I wanted to talk to you guys about the messages that we get and how important it is to trust it, because you don't want to leave yourself open and susceptible to not believing, because then that just compounds on top of itself and grows and grows and grows. You don't want to do that. So right now I'm going to take a moment, and I'm already hearing Enoch, so he's going to come in quick. Yeah, but I am going to start channeling for you guys. Thank you. Enoch speaking. Christopher. My family, my friends, all of you that are listening to this podcast, we are family. We are each other. One with each other. Beautiful in communication it is to communicate with everyone, each of you. Beautiful. Allow for this podcast to develop in its connection, for it is infused with white light and loving intent, and this love is being transmitted through this speaker system at this time. Please understand that our communication is eternal, always happening to all humans. It is accurate in the sense that you must be aware of the different ways in which they are communicating with you and believe true that this is occurring. I am Enoch speaking, here to inform you that the communication that does come forth on a regular daily basis is true. We do communicate with you on a regular basis. Even Christopher, though, misses communication at times. However, his development and connection with us is extremely strong, and thus much communication is received accurately. Although there are times, as he has stated, that the communication barrier is there and not all information is being received fluidly. This is not a representation of his connection, but rather an indication that at that moment there is some sort of disconnect, per se. This could be an energetic disconnect or the influence of a human spirit that is attempting to potentially sabotage a session. The sabotaging of a session, we use the word sparingly, liberally, not necessarily trying to bring harm, but to persuade an individual to trust more in their own abilities, is how we use the word sabotage. It is a way of, if you will, tricking a human, if you will, to think that the connection, or trusting the connection that they have with themselves, and not necessarily being reliant on a medium as Christopher is. This is tactic this is a tactic that is primarily used on individuals that are aware of their gifts and yet not necessarily using or opening up to them. We are attempting to help individuals that are in this mindset. And it is not a game per se for those of you that do think this. This is a way in which we help the human mind and soul align as one and to allow the communication to flow more freely, accepting of the information that comes forth on a regular basis. We are attempting to help with. The other ways in which we communicate, yes, there are many, even greater in number than the items that have been mentioned here this evening. Please understand that the plethora of ways is great in number, not just what was listed here. Each of you, we encourage to trust in the messages that you receive and to be open to the understanding that there may be more ways that we are communicating with you specifically. For instance, just not a week ago, Christopher did not understand the subtle pulses that were coming to him on a regular basis, and yet now he does. This rings true for many of you. There are different ways in which your spirit guide team are communicating with you and attempting to bring forth information into your energetic auric field. Please be very aware of the different subtle changes that are all around you at different times and pay close attention to your intuition, for this will allow you to feel and believe more in the idea of our communication being received at that very moment. And we are grateful for the opportunity to present this information to you. For yes, many of you experience information in similar ways. However, there are subtle differences in some ways. And this is not something to be discussed at this time. But there are differences. Part of the notion, idea of being your own person and allowing for the information to flow freely as it should to you and through you. Please do not assert yourself as being like another. For yes, we are all one, but the information can flow and does flow very much often differently. Be aware of these subtle differences and understand there is meaning in so much of what you all do, and we communicate with you. We are grateful for this opportunity to communicate with you this evening. As always, we appreciate your understanding and attentiveness to these podcasts. As much information is being relayed to you as possible. We are leveraging this podcast to communicate much information in the form of development as well as ascension, so that we may assist many of you, all of you that listen and would like to ascend in this lifetime, at least begin the process or develop more. Although we will encourage you to understand that Christopher's main primary focus in this lifetime is as a teacher, and his ability to help you develop is true. Please proceed to him should you so shall choose to open up, for he has ways in which it is possible to help, energetically speaking, with the awakening of more clairs than normal, than you thought possible. And we are grateful. Thank you. Enjoy your evening, and as always, peace be with you, and our presence is real in your life as we speak. Love all and be in the moment to help with your own development. Thank you. Okay, hold on. He is saying, contact Christopher should you so shall choose to develop more, and he will assist help with easing of the mind as you begin to open, because fear is a large aspect of opening for many of you, and yet not necessarily something that is needed and definitely not beneficial to your development. Christopher can assist with the security aspect of your development and with the mindset that is needed to develop in a beautiful way. We are so grateful for all of your attentiveness and presence here at this time. Thank you so much and enjoy your evening. Okay. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. As he was coming in, I thought it was going to be done, and then all of a sudden he kept telling me, um, kept trying to come through about how I help. So, sorry about that. I don't mean to come off as I'm soliciting. That's certainly not me, and I would never do that. But obviously, I am here to help you. So, if I can, please reach out. Anyway, thank you all so much. And I'm so sorry, man. I miss my music. I'm sorry that I can't play it, but YouTube's all shady. But anyway, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys listening so much. And really, really grateful for it. Love you all and hope you all have a great night. Thank you. Take care. See you. Oh, my website, opentoenergy.com. Shoot me a message. Ask me a question. I'm here. Love you. See you.